Hey y'all, tonight we're going to make a video about building with SSV TI wire, whether you're using it for temp control or MECH. Right now I got one temp control. We're going to be going through two different, not really going through two different. The build I'm going to use you can use for temp control or MECH, but it's going to be a pretty comprehensive video, so it might be pretty long. So it's going to cover different wicking techniques, how to get this coil right, and let me preface it by saying a couple things. One is I'm probably going to fucking curse, so I feel like cursing in this video. And two is, this video isn't for like Johnny Cloudboy or people that are inexperienced builders. If you're an inexperienced builder, you might watch this and garner some stuff, and hopefully you can learn from it. But I would think you'd want to have at least building coils out of normal material down to a science before you start to endeavor into the practices here. So that's just a pretty big disclaimer, because titanium, there are different wires that we vape from. I've used Kanthal stainless steel, and now I'm using this SSV TI. It's not a standard titanium, it's specialized wire made for vaping. There's going to be all kinds of opinions about it. Feel free to post them. I really don't give a rat's ass what your opinion of titanium is. I'm just going to tell you what my opinion of it is, and if you know what you're doing with it, and you got it right from the start, you know what to look for, I feel it's as safe or safer than any other metal that we're using to build coils with. You just have to treat it a little bit differently going in and through the life cycle of it. So that's all I'm going to say. Like I say, you could post anything you want on here about what you think about it, and I'm not going to waste my time coming back to tell you what I think about what you vape. I probably won't even look at the fucking comments. So that's about it. So I'm just going to make this because I think it's important, because it's been about 3 weeks now. I've been using it pretty much. That's it. That's all I've been using. I use it in a MECH application. Here in a MECH. With a 0.4 millimeter SSV TI in a MECH. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be reproducing this build in this MECH on an Armor RDA single coil. Here I have it in temp control. Big Apple mod on an M-ADI single coil. And this is 0.5 millimeter. So let's go through this stuff and cover. Like I said, this could be long. I may edit and try and speed up some of the shit, but even the wicking method we're going to use, things that are probably going to take the most time. I've already made the coil. The coil's simple. I'll show you that. Mounting the coil is going to be simple. The thing that takes a little bit more time is getting the coil to fire correctly. That doesn't take a lot of time, but you want to just make sure you work out any hot spots or any of that kind of shit in the build before you go ahead and wick it. And I'm not going to cover temp control. Will be the next segment. This is just getting a coil built, and if you can get it to work well on a MECH, it'll work real well in a temp control mod. So you can apply what you're doing here. You just might want to increase the gauge of the wire to the 0.5 SSV. That's the biggest change I would make in it. But this MECH is singing sweet, okay? It's on a little peon mod with an Armor VIC set cap. Okay, so why don't we get into, let's do it. The thing I hate about making these kind of fucking videos is you got to carry so much shit down when you're doing a build video. I haven't done a build video in a while. That's probably why. You just got to carry a bunch of shit around. But I think this one's kind of important because I've watched a lot. I've learned a lot from this group called KISS V. It's a Facebook group. Some really knowledgeable dudes in it. But before I ever endeavored down the road to TI, I educated myself of SSV TI. It's not standard. I don't even want to recommend titanium. I want to recommend this because I think this wire is made for vaping. It's made by dudes that know a whole lot about vaping from what I've garnered and gathered. And it's not your standard shit you buy at like Temco or, I don't know, Lightning Vapes or something. I buy stainless steel from them, but I haven't used stainless steel since I started using this stuff. I've been using nothing but SSV TI, like I said, in both a MECH and a regulated mode. I'm not the cloud boy. I like dense vapor. I like to throw my own fucking old bald fuck clouds, I guess you can call them. It's like a satisfying vape, be it from a MECH or from a temperature control application. Again, we'll cover temperature control another time. We're going to getting the coil going, making the wick, and that's really it. So let's do that shit. So let's start with what you're going to need to make this happen. Okay, you're going to need your wire for starters. Okay, this is 0.4 millimeter sweet spot TI wire. Okay, important. Do not dry burn. But that doesn't mean you don't glow your coil. That just means you don't do what you probably shouldn't do to any wire. Actually, don't do it to this either. I mean, I've been learning. Everyone that's made a video, or anyone that's built a coil has glowed a coil to the point that it's like freaking whitish, yellowish shit, and we think that that's okay. Well, you don't do that with this, and you don't want to do it with any other type of wire. You just want this to be a nice, like, you're just basically going to glow it. Let's go through all that. Let's not try and talk it out. But this is the stuff right here, Sweet Spot TI. Obviously, you're going to need, I'm building on an Armor RDA. There's a little coil. It's a 2.5 millimeter coil, so you're going to need your tool to deal with your grubs, okay? Armor happens to take 1.5 millimeter to deal with the grubs. You're going to need wire cutters to trim the ends of your wire. And you're going to need like a set of ceramic tweezers. I made this coil, just so you know, on a fucking Coil Master. No big deal. So I didn't use any rocket science and apply it to it, okay? So there's that part of it. So I already made this coil, and to save a bit of time, I just plug the leads in there. It's an 8 wrap, 2.5 millimeter ID coil, okay? I'm putting it on this mod just so I know what side to build it on, basically. I know I want it over here, okay? Because when I vape the mod, the coil is going to be facing at me. It's not going to be facing away. It's going to be facing at me. That's how I vape all my coils anymore. Is the coil coming at you. That way your wick is picking up all the juice. It's not sitting over there away from you. So first thing I'm going to do is just put this coil where it needs to be, okay, in the atomizer. It might involve me taking it in and out of frame a little bit until I get it where I want it. I've got the mod locked off. It's got a locking switch inside, so you want to do that, or take your battery out. And that's it. So that's the reason why I'm building it on this mod. The Armor likes the coil kind of close to the posts. In other words, that's the build I like on it, where the coil is closer to the posts. So we're going to get it close to the posts. Okay. Bear with me on this shit. I don't even on my best days of ever doing rebuild videos, I always make them look cumbersome and clumsy. And I'm off camera all the time. So there we go. That's about where I'm going to put it for starters. I'm going to tighten down this lead. Okay. Tighten down this lead. I think. So yeah, bear with me. I'll talk through this with you. Again, this is probably going to be a little bit of a longer video. I could rush through this stuff, but I want to cover the important things that I've learned and to try and do it in as much detail as possible, so that anyone that's endeavoring to use SSV TI, an advanced, experienced rebuilder that knows all about Ohm's law and battery safety and what you can safely do with your batteries, making sure you got good batteries, understands what we're talking about here, can successfully kind of pick up what I've picked up. Again, none of this shit is rocket science. It's just a little bit different than if you're working with other wire. And again, I don't think that the way we treat this is any different than you'd want to treat other wire. It's just that people do that shit with other wire, and it's, in my opinion and what I've read, you're creating just as much quote unquote toxins or stuff that's bad for you when you're burning any wire to the point that it's like freaking white, yellow, orange, past the point of like a dull red. Titanium is superior from also what I've learned, and how long the coil lasts. I've had coils, I mean, I've been playing with it a lot and trying different things to get just the perfect builds. So the longest I've had one in for is maybe a week, but they can last. I've heard instances where coils last for a very long time, and that can be the same said with any wire. So I'm not here to kind of tell you how long a coil can and can't last, okay? So I got that coil right pretty close to where I'm going to want it. Probably give it a little nudge. this way. And I didn't do anything funky with the legs. I just left them natural, okay? Didn't do any leg bending of any sort. Left them natural. I'm going to nudge it over that way because I like it kind of centered up on the posts, and I like it, again, like I said, kind of close to the posts. Not out at the edge of the deck, but more close to the post, or if you will, centered between here and here. Okay, I'm using an aftermarket cap too, so that allows me a little bit more latitude here because I don't have that inner AFC. So there's that. So that's pretty much my coil mounting position right there. I like it to be somewhat low, so we're going to push it down a little bit. Okay, I like it. This is me. It's personal preference, what you like as far as heat goes, or what you find gives you the best flavor. But for me, it's just about bottomed out, or right close to the top of where the juice. This is a bottom fed atomizer. Whether you're building it for a drip or bottom fed, there's not much that would change in how I wouldn't build it any differently, regardless. So there's the coil. Okay, I think right about now we're probably in a good position to trim the leads. So let's do that. If you're using your single coil reducer in the armor, you like your leads cut really close. I'm not using this. New caps that I have a very small air hole on them, so I'm not using a single coil reducer, and it vapes awesome. It's like the same vape, like quality and air with both sides open without the reducer. So there's that. So here's where we got to change it up. So now I've done what I wanted to do on this mod. One of the things I forgot to mention in my what you'll want to have on hand is a shitty little regulated mod, or if you want to use a good regulated mod. I use a shitty little regulated mod, this little tiny thing, to burn in the coil. And I say burn in, just to get it to come up to where we've got no hot spots in the coil, and get it up to our final vaping wattage. So let's just see if we can get an ohms reading on this. It's 0.37 ohms cold, okay, on this thing. Let's double check it on this thing right here and see which one is more accurate. Now we're going to do some work to this coil. This is where the video could get a little bit on the long side. Let's put it on this, see if it's ringing in at about 0.37. I'd like it a lot better if it was 0.5. 0.49, 0.54. One thing I stress on this too, when you're working with titanium wire, and I'm the same, I'm an OCD freak about my hands. My hands are clean. Titanium particularly, SSV TI, you want to have your hands nice and clean, and especially when we're going into wicking. So I don't really know what ohms this fucking coil is. Is it somewhere around 0.5, which I like on a MECH is somewhere between 0.4 and 0.5. Probably is. Let's see now that I've got this tightened down on here if it makes any difference, okay? 0.37 ohms. Well, it's somewhere between 0.37 and 0.5, all of which is good. If I was going lower than that, I would be really concerned, and I'd probably put it on a mod like this Big Apple that I trust 100% what it tells me. Locked at 0.22 ohms. Let me hit it this pitch real quick. It's a DNA 75, again with an M-ADI running in temp control. The only thing different is it's a thicker gauge wire. So now we got it on this little mod. The real purpose of this now is how we're going to glow it in. Okay, and with these bright lights, it's going to be intensely hard to do. So what I'm going to see if I can do is cut them off. See what happens if we cut them off or cut them down a little bit, okay? First time doing this through there. So what we're going to do, you're probably going to notice as soon as we hit this that there's going to be a hot spot on it, right? I'm hitting it. Oh, this is the other thing. You want to start hitting it at about 8 to 10 watts max on a single coil. We're going to go at 10. Okay. I'm going to try and tighten up on it too. Okay, about 10 watts. I'm just looking at that coil, and the first thing I'm going to do, now we built this as a contact coil. Ideally, we're going to create little spaces in it. The metal will space itself. All coils do, no matter how tight we think they are, they do. But with the titanium, it's more, see that little hot spot right there? It's more important that we make sure we create some good spacing in it, and that's why we're strumming. See, it's kind of working a little hot, and I'm just pulsing this barely. You notice that, okay? I'm going to work that out. We're creating little gaps in this bad boy as we go. If we didn't have those little tiny spaces, this little thing would just have a big hot spot in it. They just have hot spots. So by creating these little spaces, it's getting pretty good, isn't it? I'm just gently strumming it. This is the lighter gauge wire. I mean, it's probably, I'm going to guess, somewhere around 26, comparable like what you're used to working with, somewhere around 26 gauge. It's probably somewhere between stainless steel and Kanthal. It's not quite, to me, as malleable as stainless steel, but not as rigid as Kanthal either. It seems to be more pliable. So I think we got this one pretty well pegged, right? Here's a neat trick I learned. If you're having a tough time, if you want to get your end legs growing, I just learned this trick. If you want to get your coil to glow all the way to the end, just to make sure, if you get your tweezers and grab the coil and try and stifle off, see, I want to get it out to those blue wraps. If you grab it and hold it, you can kind of direct where the electricity is going to go and get it out to that end wraps there. I don't know if that's showing you that, but these are things I've learned. I'm learning, constantly learning. If you're not learning shit and trying to improve, there you go. See, I got that side glowing a little more. So I got the whole coil kind of worked out now, okay? There we go. Now I'm going to bump it up because I'm not going to vape at 10 watts. This is probably going to wind up being somewhere around 35 watts when it's cold. Now this is also kind of self-regulating. The resistance increases on it, so it'll cool off a little, which I like. So we're going up to about 17 watts. Now here's where we're going to get quicker pulses. We're not going to, again, you're definitely not wanting to get this wire glowing hardcore. These are just quick little pulses, okay? We continue to strum a little bit just to make sure. At this point, this coil is looking pretty well spot on for what we're trying to achieve. Never once did you see me glow it like freaking bright or hold it on there for any period of time. But what we want to do is make sure that we get it up to about the wattage that we're going to vape it at. And on a MECH, right now I'm at 27.8 watts. I don't trust the ohm readings on this thing worth a shit. I'll just put it to you like that. I think I trust more what was on the other deal. I mean, it could be right. Who knows? Quick pulses, like it's just as quick as you can let your finger off it. Just to make sure you don't see anything glaring in the form of a weird hot spot. Okay, and we're good. So we're going to go all the way up to about 34 watts, which is 37 watts. These are quick pulses. You see that? How quick? That's another thing. This stuff, the ramp on it is pretty off the chain. Pretty quick. Okay, so I'd say with this coil is good, okay? I think we can kick some lights back on them. Let's look at the coil. And again, there's plenty of people that have opinions about titanium. I used to be afraid of it. You're thinking titanium dioxide. Well, I don't want to pretend to know a whole bunch about this any more than I've learned how to build with it. But from what I understand, titanium dioxide is like a greenish white formation that'll happen on your coil if you overheat it. And overheating it means you're going to heat it up to, I'm thinking I'm throwing out there, somewhere around over 900 degrees. Okay, I mean just continuously firing it till it got that coating on it. It's very noticeable coating from what I've seen. There's videos on it in the KISS V group where a coil goes into failure. And most of the time, as it's turning white and crusty and green, the coil will fail and it'll basically just fall right off. So if you're a responsible vapor, that's never happened to me with any other coils. Have I vaped them dry and had any issues with them? So I have no issues with this either. I got that from there. So we cleaned this area up pretty good, right? This is what we're using for wick. I'm going to tell you why we're using it for wick. It's called Muji E-Crew. Okay, Why are we using this for wick? Because it's the perfect width of a pad for one thing. It's perfect for one wick. It doesn't involve any bullshit. The most hassle I get out of it is I'm one of those people that I clean out all the seeds and shit. So how we're doing this is like this. These pads have an outside layer and an outside layer on each side. Okay, I'm gonna have to like get out of here a little bit. Layer on the outside of each side. I've already peeled off the outside layer. I've already used several layers off it. This is something I never knew, is that each of these pads have a layer that you could pull off. Okay, you got to pull off a little layer, multiple layers you could pull off, not just the outside one. You want to throw it away. When you pull off that outside layer, you throw it away. See how you can separate off a layer? So this takes that whole like Scottish roll deal that you've seen and simplifies it down to where, rather than trying to take this pad and spread it all out and shit like that, you're just peeling off a layer of this pad, which basically has already, it's kind of a shortcut, and a much better shortcut, so you're getting a much evener piece of wick. There's what you're going to wind up with, just a little. I still got the rest of this here, the shit layer there. This is probably pretty much all the shit layer, so this is going away. So there's about 4 or 5 layers on each of these pads. So what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll pick out the fucking fingernails and shit that's in this stuff, okay? Whatever's in it, I don't know what that is. This is only a 2.5 millimeter coil. When I get done, I'm probably going to use only about, and since it's a lighter gauge wire, just a little bit more than half of this piece right here. Okay, so now I still got a lot of this stuff in here. It's funny, these bright lights illuminate that. There is a lot of the bullshit in here. So just picking it out, trying not to disturb much of the wick, much of the cotton. But if you notice, we're working also, I guess I probably didn't mention this, but when I separated this pad, I separated it with the grain, so that I'm working with the grain. That's what we're going to do. I think at this point we're pretty good on this, okay? Nice thin little piece of cotton with shit hanging all over the place. Let's just get that and put it back to where it belongs. So the grains on this cotton are running this way. And we're going to twist this thing up like this. Okay, we're just going to twist it. And in order to do that, you're going to need to have the tips of your fingers a little bit moist. That's all. And we're just twisting it on the ends. I'm not twisting it real dense in the middle, as you can see. I will tuck it down a little bit there just to make sure it's rolling with me, but I'm not making it really dense there. I want to keep the middle pretty fluffy, okay? But make sure it's rolling with it. You don't want to not roll it. So again, since with the diameter of this coil and the thickness of this wire being 0.4, we're going to roll up about half of this pad right here. See that nice fluffy little centerpiece there? Okay. And that's about it. A tiny little bit more maybe. Right there. Then we're just going to tear the rest of this off and put it where all those seeds went. Ultimately it'll wind up in the shit can. Okay, so here's going to be our wick woll. It's going to go in that coil, and it's like a little straw. So I'm twisting the ends of it up like that. See that? That's it. Now, where the fuck is my mod? There it is. Now I'm just twisting one end a little more. We're going to get it in here. And pull it through. That's it. Sometimes tweezers help on being a lazy bastard. I don't feel like reaching for anything. So I'm just pulling it in. Now I want to keep an eye on my coil. Again, this is lighter wire. It's not like terribly light. And we want to kind of move it back and forth a little bit through here to kind of make sure we got it how we want it. Okay, there we go. Right about like so. It's about where I want it. But this makes it easy to gauge thickness when you know you're using about half a pad, okay? It takes kind of the guesswork out. Half of a layer, one of the layers, about half of it. short tails. Just want them down in the bowl. That's it. I don't want tails going anywhere beyond, just down in the bowl. There's no need to pack this thing full of wick. Okay, that's it. So you kind of look at what we've got left over here. Get my little wick and screwdriver out. We got like a little straw of wick, okay? Again, nothing new, nothing earth-shattering. That stuff's been out. People have been doing this for a while. I didn't invent the roll, but I think I didn't invent the wick wool. But I've seen little videos that are in a group. I don't know if I've seen a YouTube video. So I wanted to make a comprehensive working with titanium sort of video. SSV TI. I never worked at regular titanium. So here's where things get a little different, okay? We're using this Epistle carrot cake. It's in my squonk bottle. That's what's going on here. Yep, you're probably going, this is where he's going to prime the wick. Well, this is where I might be able to show you something different that I've learned. And as I learn, I like to show you. We're going to drip a little bit on the mod, right? A little bit right here in the middle of the coil. Okay, let me wipe that off my mod. That's going to bother the hell out of me. Alrighty then. Wipe that off there. So I'm going to start putting some drops into the middle of this coil here, and then we're going to slowly pulse the coil and heat it up a little bit and get that coil. What we're trying to do is get the cotton to force to expand now. Okay, we're wanting the cotton to expand now. Let me get that. That's what the acclimation that I was telling you about involves. That's what I'm calling it, is acclimation. You'll see by the time we're done, this wick will be fully saturated by the time I tuck it down in there, okay? So, dumbass. All I'm doing is wetting that. Once I dry this off, I think we'll be ready to pulse it a little bit. That's why I don't want to make fucking building videos anymore. I suck at them. Okay, so now we're just gonna, we've got to unlock the mod, which just has a little locking ring, and that's it. Yeah, this is an Ultim, full Ultim peon, peasant mods peon. So now we're just going to gently pulse this. And again, what we're trying to attain or achieve here is to get the center part of the wick expanded out that's in the coil. And we'll know when we've got that accomplished, then we're ready to tuck that wick in when the whole wick is wet. But we're doing it from the inside out. If you could smell how delicious this stuff smells. Titanium imparts zero flavor too, by the way. I guess flavor is subjective to everybody, but it's nothing like any other wire as far as imparted flavor. There is none. This bottle kind of sucks for this purpose right here. I'm not a big, I mean, I like the look of these bottles. I'm not really that big of a fucking fan of them, though, I gotta say. I love the juice. This is the only juice I vape is Epistle Carrot Cake and Mango Lassie. But these bottles, I'm just not sure of. Why in the fuck is that thing dripping down that tube? Anyhow, if I was a dripper, I'd be pissed. Luckily, I don't do this very often. So that's it. But yeah, the smell of this is delicious, that juice. Just giving you a little burn. So we're just going to do that a few times. Looks like it's going to be a hell of a vape, doesn't it? I can tell you that it is. You can make it as aggressive as you want it to be. I don't really like an aggressive vape. I like a productive, cooler vape, flavorful vape. That's what I'm shooting for here. Well, that's doing that. Let me hit this other one. This one right here that's built to pretty much the same spec. All right. Getting real close here. So I'm trying to get the whole wick saturated from the inside out, and then it'll be ready for all the other stuff we're going to do with it. So that's working pretty well, huh? What do you think? Alright, we've mission accomplished that shit. Cover this up. Ah, fucking God, why do I come down here and do this? I got a mess of shit around me. It's very organized up in my office, but it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta take one for the team. So you can see that this wick is fairly saturated, so we're going to sculpt it the ends a little bit. You can see how that little straw is formed there. We're just going to tuck it right down into the fucking bowl, man. Same way, we're going to go over this side. Man, it's an easy atomizer to build. It's a hell of a clean deck. It vapes awesome. There you go. Look at the way we wet that wick. So now the beauty of it is, anytime I want to re-up that situation right here, I just hit this little bottle right here, and it puts liquid on the deck, and it re-wets the wick. It's coming out of both sides. Keeps it nice and wet. Okay? And that wick is right about the perfect length to do what it needs to do. Notice how clean the bowl is of any excess wick. It's just down in the bowl. It's a nice fluffy, not too dense. To me, the perfect density of wick. We're going to put this Vic set little hole. See how small the hole is in that? But at least there's one on each side. That's why I took that single coil reducer out. And to me, like I said, the vapor on it is the same as the stock armor. I just like the Ultim cap, because I think it fucking matches this mod for one thing. There's my coil in there, as you can see it. Matches the mod, and it just, I think it just, metal caps now, but Med Mods dropped this fucking killer honeypot. It's got a single coil reducer built into it. It's a single coil honeypot, and it changed the game of the M, in my opinion. The M was already kicking ass. Hardcore. Armor's been kicking ass good too, but now that I've been able to get some Ultim top caps, I think it cools the vape off quite a bit. I like it. So let's hit this bitch one time. Damn, that is good fucking shit right there.